Welcome back once again to For Art's Sake. The title of tonight's program is called Junk Sculpture, and my guest is a very fascinating man by the name of Willard Red Alcott. Welcome, Red.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. Well, we have such an array of interesting things that are here. I just wanted to ask you one question before you started explaining it all. When did you get started doing this?
I would say about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. How I got really started in this, my son found a wrench very similar to this out in the backyard and was all rusty, and he wanted to throw it in the garbage. And I wanted to throw it in the garbage. And I said, wait a minute, Lee, it looks to me like the head of a grasshopper. And he kind of was skeptical about it, and I kept looking at it, and then I went to the library and I got a book on grasshoppers, and I figured out a way of doing a sketch how I could make this wrench look like a grasshopper. And I made this drawing with the components of nuts and bolts and washers and so forth and rods, and I drew it, and then I applied heat to here and bent this up. Well, the net result was, after putting this on here, I wound up with this. And
He's adorable.
This wrench is a Ford wrench, probably used on a Model A Ford of 1929 vintage. And this part here, they gave you a tool kit with it. And this part here was to grab the wrench and do something with something to do with the drive underneath the car. So I value this one very much because it's a Ford wrench. They're very hard to come by, but I did acquire this one. It's a little bit different, but that was what started me. And then I kept going and did various things. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them about any other object.
All right. Well, okay, what about this little children's merry-go-round type of thing? You said you had some great stories about these things.
I was in New York City one time, and I was going by this school uptown, and the kids were playing on there, and they made some preliminary sketches, and I found these parts. They're all junk parts, and I decided to make this. I call it a merry-go-round. I don't know really what it is, but I lost the sketches, and I believe I made this in 1975. And at the same time, there were little children on a seesaw. I don't think this is too complicated, but thinking back, I think I did this first and this second.
Mm-hmm. Are all your works inspired by something you have seen?
Exactly, every one.
Including the train? That's
the train. The train, I was in a restaurant in Pennsylvania, and they had their placemats. I had it here someplace. And I saw that train, and that train is called the General, and that train pulled, that type of train pulled Abraham Lincoln's funeral from Washington, D.C., wherever he was laid out. It's all made of junk parts, and I did very quick sketches on it here, how I was going to make everything from what they call the boiler section, and how I was going to make it. You can see the sketches are pretty well torn and shattered, but the net result was that train, all made out of junk parts. These are wood screws.
Right.
This is what they call key stock. That's a carriage bolt. That's a pipe reducer. That's a cap nut. This is channel iron. And the rear wheels are made out of knockouts from flanges. And the big wheels are made of large washers and large cotter pins. The cylinder here is made out of a pipe fitting with a plug in it. And all put together. That took quite a long time to make.
How did you, what inspired the drummer?
Well, I've been a professional drummer for many, many years, and I decided to make this, and I didn't need any sketches of this because I'm very familiar with the sizes in comparison to the size of the real drums. You'll notice that the cymbals are real brass shim stock, very thin, and I have them playing the hi-hat, which is the afterbeat, and so actually it's a jazz drummer. It's not exactly the way I set up my drums, but it's darn close to it.
It's close to it, huh?
Yes.
What about this one over here?
The bowler?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not into bowling, but I made that for a friend of mine, a freebie, by the way, and he never came around to pick it up. And I made that in 1982.
Maybe you got lost at the bowling alley.
Probably. Mid-State Mall or someplace like that.
Red, were you inspired by any particular people in the art field?
Oh, yes. My I looked up to a lot of people in the art world, but this form endeavor of mine is actually self-taught. But I was motivated in the love of art by Rose Sackle, who I took oil painting lessons from.
I know Rose, yeah.
And Fred Arnott, who taught me oil painting. And a very dear friend of mine who's since not with us, George Pataki, he taught me silkscreen printing. And that's local people. Actually, James Gary from the Shore area does large things similar to this. I was inspired by his works, and also my mobiles, which I don't have here. I was inspired by Alexander Caudler, who was since...
Did he do the work like this with the...
No, Alexander didn't. He did stabiles. There's two forms. There's mobiles and stabiles, but his weren't like this. His were more abstract, more modern, with beams and iron and so forth. Very large pieces.
Red, do you have a working knowledge of all the materials that you use? And it's a kind of a double question. Do you also do research on the things that you do?
I worked in a chemical plant locally for 41.5 years. And through my knowledge of sizes of nuts and bolts and washers and various materials here, a lot of this I picked out of a junk, and I had to clean it up with a wire brush and so forth. A lot I picked down at, like these wrenches here, I pick up at the English Town auction for, I used to get them for 25 cents a piece. Then the guy found out down there that I was using them for something, and he refused to sell them to me for 20. But I have enough of these. In fact, I think I have 6 of these downstairs.
Who's the little fellow down at your right?
Oh, this is a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, form of dinosaur. And I went to the library and got some information on Tyrannosaurus Rex. And I found out the most interesting thing about these dinosaurs, that you'll get more information on a dinosaur in the children's section of the library up here, which, by the way, a plug for the library is I find it excellent. The children's section will give you more information. The jaws here, you will see, are made out of old pipe wrench jaws, and I took the 2 jaws and I cut one here and welded it to here. That's how I got it. The jaws are made. Of course, the eyes are made out of a hexagon steel nut. The arms up here are made of threaded rod, which I heated and hammered and then sliced it and spread it apart. This here is part of a chain-driven gear, which was case hardened, so I had to heat it up red hot and put it in asbestos and let it slowly cool off. These all have been welded here. These are various size hexagon steel nuts gradually going down there. Looks like a horn of plenty. When I was doing this, somebody thought I was making a horn of plenty.
He's cute.
And I made quite a few of these various sizes. I intend to, in the future, make more different types of dinosaurs. I have a brand new welding outfit downstairs, and I haven't got a chance to get into it yet, but I'm going to start doing a lot more of this stuff.
How long does each piece take, or does it vary?
It varies. The train I worked in, I never work on anything for the whole period of time. I might go a little bit on this and then drop it and go on that. I never kept time of that, but if I had to reproduce that, I would say it would take way over 150 hours.
Really?
Way over 150 hours. I never pinned it down, but I would say 150 hours.
Okay, my next question.
Yes.
Are these things for sale? I know we were laughing about this.
Yeah, I had an exhibit up at the library,
yes.
And unfortunately my exhibit wasn't coordinated with the article in the newspaper, so I didn't get too much exposure. And one person called me up. I was kind of disappointed. I thought people would really go for it, but it really doesn't make any difference. There are a lot of pieces that are not for sale, but some of them are. The drummer, I had to get really pinned down.
Sure, because I don't think you really want to get rid of them. Isn't that what you
No, it's more of a... Yes, my wife said, why don't you sell it? Well, the average person would not pay me what I would want. I think they should pay me more for the idea, and nobody else has one like these various things. I think they should pay me more for the idea than the time involved. I don't think I could put a time limit on anything. Some of them are for sale and some are not. I have a list how much I would want, and a list of which is not for sale. By the way, some of these items I had to borrow back from people in Syracuse, New York. My brother-in-law owns a couple of pieces. I gave them to him, and I had to borrow them back just for this the show and also the exhibit in the library. I'm also having an exhibit in the Woodbridge Library in the near future.
Well, maybe you won't feel so rejected after that.
Yeah.
But you had said the other day you do pieces on consignment. If
Oh, I certainly do.
called you and said, you know, hey, my husband is a whatever, and maybe you would whip it up.
Well, sometimes I whip up something on my own, and then I do find a potential customer. I did that with the hockey players. I made 3 hockey players, and I sold them. I made a tennis player for my nephew. A tennis player someplace around. Well, anyway, a lot of these pieces are for my nieces and nephews. This particular piece here, I'm kind of proud of.
I was just going to ask you about that one.
I made that in 1975. Since that time, I have made larger ones, and I've improved a little bit on them. This took quite a few hours because there is no welds on the outside. I made this in reverse. I welded it, sort of a cup affair, then put this on top and welded around. I had excess material around, then cut it off. These, I try to take advantage. I would call mine art for material found. I try to take advantage of things I can find. These were originally chain-driven gears like you see on a bicycle or a motorcycle. And I try to get 5 digits on them like the turtle or tortoise has. There's a big argument about which is a turtle and which is a tortoise. And
I'm not going to ask you.
no, you would have to look it up in your Funkin' Wagnalls. This particular piece...
Oh, that was one of my favorites when I was over here the other day, Chorus Line.
Yeah. I call it dancers. I think more so the Rockettes than the show Chorus Line. I would call it Rockettes, but I did call it dancers. I figured Rockettes would be kind of a corny thing to call it. And this was a little complicated. I remarked to you the other day about certain parts of the extremities on these, which we will not go into for television.
Their anatomy.
Yes, their anatomy.
One of them is slightly smaller than the other.
The one I have my thumb on.
Oh, that's delightful. What else do we have over there?
Oh, I have this piece, Man on the Dock.
Oh, wasn't that your second favorite, or you said one of these was your second favorite piece?
Yeah, this is not mine. This is my brother-in-law's. I made this in 1975. I happened to be in Greece one time, and I saw a man fishing on the dock, and I made a quick sketch.
Red, do you find that your work is improving as you go on, that your creativity is expanding?
1975, and it's now 1983. I can see the definite improvement. If I did this piece today like this, I would have to rip part of it apart. It's not good enough for me now, but it's good enough for the person I gave it to. I'd improve on the seagull. Now I can find a shorter method, and I have more material at hand. I actually collect garbage, and then I apply it to an item I'm going to make. I don't say I'm going to make something, then look for it. I just pick things up along the way. I have boxes and boxes of garbage down in the basement. That's the way I've been doing it.
So if we see this little old person, not old, but this little person go walking up this street looking through garbage.
It will be me.
It will be Red.
Yes, it certainly will.
Okay.
When I did the train, I became educated in locomotives. When I did this, I found out there's approximately over 1,000 types of grasshoppers. I'm becoming educated beside being creative. This particular book, A Q, and Thor Haverdal, I read a lot of his books, and I was thrilled about the statues here. Well, I just happen to have a length of stainless steel hexagon stock, so I sliced it, and I made this A Q statue. It's quite abstract, but this is not mine. I made this in 1976. My brother-in-law owns this. A lot of my brother-in-laws own a lot of this stuff. I had to get it back, and they're complaining I should give it back to them.
Red, you have some fascinating things down here on the floor. Can you show them to us? What about your little pigs over there? Oh, that's not a little pig. You told me that wasn't a pig.
One is a hippopotamus.
Right.
One is a rhinoceros. I believe the rhinoceros has the horn beak on it. They are used to put letters in. There are springs, very large springs that somebody threw out with washers on the end, cap screws for the legs, and a series of nuts graduated down for the head and the nose, and the ears are small washers. The large pig is made out of a piece of stainless steel pipe.
There's a marvelous cat over there. He's got a little wire brush, I know.
Oh, yeah. The wire brush on there is what they call a boiler tube brush. I found that in the garbage on boilers. They clean the tubes out by rotating it and taking the rust out. I found that brush, and I said it looks like a cat's tail. Well, I started from the wrong end. I had the cat's tail first, and then I took the boiler and cut a rough sketch out of the boilerplate. That's 3/8 boilerplate, and cut out the cat. It's a doorstop. This particular piece is a weightlifter. One of my favorite nephews is into the weightlifting, so this object I made for him in particular, and he was thrilled over it.
I imagine that has to go back too.
This has to go back.
Where did you get that one from? I mean, is that one you brought back from Utica also?
Yeah, this is from Utica. This is from Utica.
Well, it was very nice of you to bring all these pieces back for this.
And they're
today.
screaming up there they want them back.
Well, I can't blame them. What is the other one down there that you have?
Oh, and this is for one of my favorite nieces. She is into figure ice skating.
Uh-huh.
And I made this for her. She wants it back, too. I have her name on it here, too. I've made this 1982. I made this last year.
Tell me, when you do these figures that are in motion, do you have people pose for you?
Some of them I do. This particular one, I was up to the library and I got a book on figure ice skating. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I do it.
Is it easier to do it from a book or to look at a...
No, I would rather do it. I'd rather do it in person.
Really?
When I made I have a skier down here. Mm-hmm. I had somebody that skis pose for me, find out, and also the dimensions, how long the skis are in comparison to the height of the body, or the poles, how far the rings are here. I don't know the slightest bit about skiing, but the dimensions I got from somebody that skis.
You have a tennis player.
Oh yes, this goes back to Syracuse. This is for another nephew of mine. He's a tennis player, and he teaches tennis, by the way. The racket is made just out of ordinary screen.
Oh, I was going to say, it looks like a little piece of a screen door.
Yeah, no, it was a piece of stainless steel screen. Most of this is garbage. I have a lot of these materials downstairs, and I will use them when I get to make a particular object. Mm-hmm. Hockey player, that belongs to, I have a list. I made this in 1976. The hockey player is not mine. I'd have to get my checklist. I think this goes back to Syracuse. All my relatives live in Syracuse.
What, okay, now you say you get your inspiration from things you had seen, like the fisherman from A Man in Greece and the chorus line from watching dancers. Are you inspired by just everyday things?
Certain things I am. I see certain things. I was up the library the other day and I saw senior citizens waiting for a bus, and that motivated me. I'd like to make a thing of a bunch of senior citizens in front of the mailbox up there waiting for their bus. I don't know when I'll get to that, though.
Well, it sounds like that would be a very fascinating piece of sculpture.
Certainly, I think so too, but I have so many ideas, I don't think I'll ever live long enough to finish any of these things.
What are some of the other ones that you have?
Oh, I have a lot of mobiles I want to finish. I have weather vanes downstairs. I have 6 weather vanes. I have the post, the top that goes on the northeast, southwest crossed arm, twisted iron, and I have certain balls that I acquired in the garbage dumps, and I want to do them. I have everything done on the weather vanes except the object that's going to be on the arrow. I have to wait till the last minute to find out what the person is interested in, what object or what form they're into, to find out what to put on the weather vane. Instead of putting a rooster, they might want a sleigh. A lawyer might want a couple of books opened up, or a doctor or something like that. I have so many things. If I live to be 100 years old, which I doubt, I will never finish the amount of work that I want to do.
I think everyone who feels that way, who's in any form of the creative arts.
Oh, yes.
There's never enough hours in the day to do all the things you really like to do.
I spend a lot of time doing these things. In fact, that turtle there, I have 3 turtles larger than that are for my sons and also for my brother-in-law. I do a lot of in-law things because
No
they were very kind to me, and the only way I can reciprocate is by giving you my works of art. And I don't mind doing it at all. I don't mind the least bit giving
That's a
a
lovely
thing.
gesture.
Yeah.
You know, when we were talking the other day, I know that you were very into other forms of art also. You had done silk screening, you told me.
Oh, yes.
You had done some oils, because we were discussing clowns.
Yes, you mentioned something about doing a clown. I haven't the slightest idea how I would do a clown. I know what a clown looks like. Many years ago, I painted a clown on a numbered set before I got involved, many, many years ago. For me to do a clown, I would have to go through my garbage and find out how to make the curly hair first and the eyes and so forth. Like I said before, I don't really plan until I find out exactly what I'm going to do. Then I got to go through a bunch of garbage and just dig and dig and dig what looks like this. That's why the train took so long for me to do. The drummer I'm familiar with, being a drummer, I knew exactly what I needed. The Easter Island is kind of simplified statue, and I knew what they looked like, even reading the book. A bowler was not too complicated. The posture or the anatomy I find very difficult and without doing research, like the dinosaur. And what really amazed me up the library, a little boy come up to me. He was only about 6 years old when I had my display, and he said, "Mister, do you know that's a Tyrannosaurus Rex?" And when he said that, I really enjoyed it, because most adults call it a dinosaur rather than a certain breed of dinosaurs. I learn an awful lot about the objects doing the research and reading. But I have other forms of art I want to get into. Like I said, I will never live that long enough. I want to get back to silk screening. I want to get back to oil painting. I want to get back to so many things. And now I have the time, and I find that I'm traveling hither and thither. I'm planning on going down to Williamsburg, Pennsylvania, and other places in the near future. I'd really like no man is an island, but I'd like to be alone once in a while, where I can collect my thoughts and do these things.
You're definitely not alone here today.
No. Another project I have to do, before I can get any of this metal work going downstairs, I just purchased a new welding outfit, and I have to put a ventilating system in the basement with a fan and a series of things, because it is kind of dirty and it does smell up the area. I can't do it in the garage, because too many people going by would stop and interrupt me. First thing I'd have to do is continue my shop. I'm relocating my shop in the basement, and my wife definitely told me, don't ever take anybody in the basement. It's piled high and high with various objects. Any other question?
Well, let's see. Now, when you talked about painting before, do you paint, do you do portraits?
No, I am very poor doing portraits. Very, very poor.
Really?
I like landscapes, seascapes. I'm very impressed with French Impressionistic painters. I like them. I don't particularly care for some of the modern painters today. The French painters and the Belgian painters I like very much. I did have a natural talent for that, but Rose Sackle helped me out tremendously with that, with colors. I still have some of my work charts downstairs getting colors. She was very inspiring to me.
Well, you said to me the other day that you had been to many museums and you were really self-taught, and Josh is over here and he just handed up the sign that says 1 minute left, and I didn't realize our time was going so fast. But Red, thank you for allowing us to come.
Oh, thank you very much. It's
we've been fascinating. The time has gone like this. We could have gone really for another half hour. To all of you out there, why, you know, if you see, as I said before, you see this person walking down your street picking up stuff out of garbage pails, that is Red Alcott. Anyway, I want all of you to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next month. We have a very special program going for you over at Playhouse 22, The Birth of a Musical Comedy. So in the meantime, take care.
Thank you.
Hey, hey, how